but they see the play from the front for 1 penny, and the sixpenny lords are seeing the back of everything. Well, we think that's a bit odd, but I'm told in Shakespeare's day, when we saw the old flag flying at the Globe, we wouldn't say, oh, let's go and see a play. We would have said, let's go and hear a play. It was much more of a listening sort of culture, you know. We were expected to get all the information this way. And the way the stage is built, there's solid wood above the actors' heads up there. Natural sounding board. Solid wood across the back there. Throws the voices forward. Solid wood under the actors' feet. And I don't know if you can sort of hear the acoustic we've got here, but it's a natural, organic acoustic. And we get this very zingy sound on our stage. And you can hear perfectly well at the back. So maybe the aristos got their 6 penny worth. But you can see what Shakespeare's problem was at the Globe. He'd got a very mixed sort of audience to entertain. And he'd got 1,000 stinkhards who would never read or write. The bourgeoisie up there, the nobility at the back, if they came. Party in the gentlemen's rooms. Shakespeare's job was to give everyone who came to the Globe a good time, whoever they were. And this is something our founding father, we're talking Sam Wanamaker, believed could happen for us if we built this theatre the way they built it back in 1599. We would get what they got, and we'd start to understand why Shakespeare wrote those plays like he did. You know, these mixed ingredients, comedy and tragedy mixed up in the same play. And there's always philosophy and poetry and singing and dancing and sword fighting and rude jokes for the poor old stinkards, all mixed up in the same play. So whoever you were, when you came to the Globe, you got your money's worth. And that's what we're finding out as we put the plays on. How the plays work. A lot of things make sense that are a bit puzzling when you're struggling, you know, with plays at school. They make actual theatrical sense. Yeah. Now, what I'd like to do, before anybody else does, is get us up into the gallery here. So let's pretend, oh, the sun's come out again. Oh, those stinkards. Let's hold our noses, 3 pennies out of our Shakespeare pocket. Follow me, we're going up the stair tower into the gallery. You get the overall view of the stage here. Last summer we were charging £5 to stand, and the top price, whatever it was, is round about here. Oh, just a word about our founding father, who I mentioned downstairs. Sam Wanamaker. Yes, I expect you know he was a method actor from Chicago. And Sam saw the Globe for the first time in Chicago when he was 15 years old. He went to the great Chicago World's Fair, 1933, and the thing that caught his eye was this sort of medieval village thing, and in the middle of it there was a sort of replica Globe theatre, and actors were coming on and doing bits of Shakespeare. Now, 15, you might think Sam was quite young, but he never forgot it. And then he went to Hollywood, as you know, and he ended up in London making a film here just after World War II, and they say on his day off he came over the river to this part of town looking for the Globe. And he was shocked that the only thing to remember the great theatre by was this bronze plaque thing that they put up round the corner in Park Street, where the scholars figured the globe could have been. Nobody was sure right then. But it gave Sam this idea, and this turned into what we're still calling Sam's dream. And the idea was to recreate the theatre. And he wanted to have it in London, and he wanted it near as possible to where it had been in Shakespeare's day. He wanted it the size and the shape the scholars were able to deduce from the information that there was, that it had been. He wanted it built like they built it in Shakespeare's day. He wanted the organic materials that they used. He wanted the oak wood skeleton framework that you can see inside and outside the building. The infill, Tudor lath and plaster, very different. And he wanted the thatched roof that they used for the 1599 First Globe Theatre. He wanted authentic as far as we could do it. One of the problems, of course, being this kind of building, wood, plaster, thatch, totally forbidden in London. Since our Great Fire, we've got the ultimate London date here. Londoners all together, please. 1666, yes, I knew you knew. And the old city over the river there, the Gothic town, the one Shakespeare had known, burned to the ground. 4 days, unstoppable flame. Very sensibly, we're not allowed to do wood, plaster, and thatch in London anymore. Well, we've got it, but we've had to do health and safety and fire things they'd never heard of in Shakespeare's day. I mean, look up at our thatched roof. River reeds from Norfolk, all the way, only the best. See what health and safety made us put, all the way round the top. Sprinklers, yes. We can soak the old river rushes in a trice if we have to do so. They packed, I'm told, 3,000 Londoners into the old Globe in Shakespeare's day. They'd have 1,000 standing down there, 2,000 in the rest of the building. Health and safety will let us have half that number. But they tell me we're all twice as big as we were in Shakespeare's day. So maybe they got more bums on seats, if you know what I mean. But take a look. Don't you think Sam was right? It's a bit different from modern theatre. I always think our main difference is we play in daylight. Once the plays are up and running, we'll be playing in the afternoons, which is what they did in Shakespeare's day. But can you see, tucked discreetly away here and there, we've got some daylight assistance. And this enables us to do a play on the stage when the sun goes down in the west. We give the daylight just a bit of help. But whether it's day or night, we don't do here what we do in all the modern theatres. You know, in a modern theatre, when the play starts, the lights go down on us. So we're all sitting in the darkness, you know, we're strangers to each other. And then the lights come up on the stage in a modern theatre. And the actors are all in the light, we're all in the dark. You know, it's like separation, it's like them and us. But here, as you can see, anyone who comes to the Globe can see anyone else who comes to the Globe, you know, laughing, crying, getting wet down there in the yarn, poor old stinkards. We see it, and of course, as you can imagine, the actors, when they come on the stage, can see us. And it's quite unusual for modern actors, you know, to be able to see our faces. They're used to playing into darkness, you know, cameras or whatever. But if we're being frowned groundlings down there, we're looking right up their noses. You know, they can't pretend we're not here. So they speak very directly to us, you know, because they can see what we're thinking when they say whatever it is. It's a different experience, really, for them and for us. I always think it's a bit more, I don't know, sociable, I suppose. But we've got some tricks. What I'd like to do is take you down the stage from the top. Up at the top there, the pointy bit, the hot special effects department. We've got two big cannon that go bang. You know, go let the soldiers shoot, bang, the old cannon. A great big bell that goes dong, silence that dreadful bell, dong. And the winding mechanism for the gods and goddesses to come down from the heavens. Deus ex machina, the Romans called it. They invented all that. We've got it up there as well. Then the heavens, which we look up at when we're groundlings, and the heavens supported on those two big pillars, and we call those the pillars of Hercules. And each of those pillars is a 400-year-old oak tree, and the craftspeople have shaped them to look like classical pillars, and then they painted them to look like marble, because it's all illusion at the globe, it's all painted wood. The French call it trompe-l'œil, fool the eye, paintwork. Then the pillars stand on the stage floor there, where you can imagine the actors walk about, so that of course represents the earth. And then in the middle of the earth, can you see, we've got another trap door. We've got the heavens, we've got the earth. Where does a trap door in the earth take us to? Yes, let's be bold, let's call it hell. I mean, when we sell our soul to the devil, as you do, that's where the devil's going to come to get us, when we've gone too far. So you see, it's all symbolic at the globe, with heavenly things coming down, wicked things coming up, all human life, as you might say. And then straight ahead of us in the middle, the gallery, well, we call it the musicians' gallery. You can see there's live music in all the plays, and the players can go there, or it can be part of the play. I mean, when we did Shakespeare's Romeo and Juliet, I guess you know what that was. Well, yes, there she was on the balcony going, he was on the ground reaching up to her. She was on the balcony reaching down to him, and their hands never met. Oh, we knew it would end in tears. And underneath, double doors, those go into the back of what Shakespeare called the wooden O. You know, he described the globe as a wooden O. You can see what he was talking about. And in the back there, we keep all our furniture and stuff. Because as you see, it's an open stage. We don't have a big red velvet curtain, you know, to come down and do things behind. Everything happens here in front of your eyes. So if the king needs a throne, the servants in the play bring it out and take it away, and so on. So we use the whole thing. It's a world of imagination. There's no scenery in a modern sense. So they come on and tell us where we are. You know, this is the Forest of Arden. We go, oh, it's a forest, you see what I mean? And then the poetry does the scene setting. You know, I used to wonder what all these pretty words were for. They're crucial to help us imagine whatever it is that we imagine. Now we're all together. Any questions? Anything I can tell you while we're all together? Hey, darling. What are you doing after?